Hello there, another beautiful day here. Couldn't resist filming outside today. Dance MIDI in the background. I hope the sound comes out okay. So I think most of you probably realize by now how important I find feet, really, because feet are the energetic source and the support for your legs and your spine. So I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet today because I'd love to join my family out on the bulls court, or the petanque as they call it here. So today you're going to probably need a couple of towels. I've got about 4 here. A lot just depends what's happening in your feet. And if you do have something like a dowling rod or a broomstick or a ball, like a tennis ball would be good. Okay, so we start off in what's called Vajrasana. You're going to need probably something underneath your shins because the pressure on your shins is sometimes quite big, and for those of you who find it really hard to sit like this, you probably are going to need to roll a towel, like this, and put it underneath your ankles, something like this, until you can get that opening to come through your shins, so that the ankles, so that the feet are much more comfortable in a flatter position. So because we spend most of our time standing and sitting, we don't actually open up the back of the foot, which is what one of the things this posture does. It's a lot more complicated after that. Traditionally in Iyengar yoga, feet are tied together. So you would put a belt around the ankles and tie them together so that you can get an opening coming through the inner arch here. That's fine, it's good, but just be careful when you're doing that you don't have any pain in your knees. So now a lot of the height that you're going to take between your buttocks bones and your sitting bones, that is, and your heels, is going to be dependent on knee problems as well as this opening in the foot that we're looking for. So what I suggest is that you firstly just sit and see whether you're going to need something underneath the ankles, that rolled towel, and then grab another towel or two, and now depending on your knee problems or any other discomfort that you might have, start building up something underneath the buttocks, between the buttocks bones and the heel, so that you're sitting in a way that you can actually have your pelvis tilted slightly forward. So we don't want to be sitting here either. It needs to come slightly forward so that the spine can be placed on top of your hips. Okay, now the next thing is, it's really important to have and create the opening in the feet here. So you don't want your feet like this. You want to start opening up the feet. You want to be spreading the toes, and you want to be extending through your inner arches, something that I have been talking about recently. Okay, and after that, I'm turning around in circles here, aren't I? After that, you want to start working at aligning your tibia and femurs. So if you have leg shapes, something like this, you slowly want to be able to improve this relationship between your bones. And by sitting on it, by sitting on this tibia, you can bring these bones into better relationship if you're sitting correctly. So as you're sitting, you want to bring the tibia underneath the femur, not to the inside of the femur. If I turn around again, in other words, you don't want to be like this. You want the tibia or your shin bone underneath your femur bone. And this will really help to improve the relationship between your bones. So I tore the meniscus in both knees after one crazy mountain marathon with a lot of downhill in it, and that was about 12 or 13 years ago. And my teacher told me to just sit in this posture, and I thought he was nuts in the beginning, but it's the thing that really, really saved my knees at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm going to be sitting in that Vajrasana position. So your shins are underneath your femurs. Your inner foot is really long, so don't allow your toes to come together. It's almost like you want to spread your toes away from each other and spread your toes. Okay, and then we're placing a couple of blankets underneath the sitting bones and the heels. I've explained to you why. Okay, then it's Something you want to try and do is, so you want to absorb your outer ankles inwards. So don't let the ankles flop out. The outer ankles are absorbed in, and your outer calf muscles as well. Try and absorb them in. And as you're absorbing these outer calf muscles in, like squeezing them in, you want to take your inner knee to your outer knee. So this will bring you more and more onto the crest of your feet, of your shin bone, so that shin bone starts facing forward. You know, in general, shin bones start going more and more out with age, like this. You know, and then you have a shin bone going that way and a femur bone going this way, and then all kinds of knee problems developing after that. So we're here, shins under the femur, support between the buttocks and the heels, enough so that you can really bring your pelvis slightly forward and extend your spine from there. Outer ankles in, outer calves in, like squeeze them in, and this will like give quite a bit of drive going through the spine, so it's quite active, this posture. Inner knee to outer knee. And then just sit there for a little while and observe, you know, what the relationship is between your feet, your shins, and your femurs, your upper legs. It sounds crazy, but a lot of our problems that happen even higher up in the spine come from this bad relationship between the feet, the shins, and the femurs. So you're actually pressing the shins into the ground, and this, like I said, will give you some form of lift up as well through your spine. Now just begin to observe whether you're pushing weight onto one shin or onto another, and this often comes from bad habits, you know, carrying heavy bags on one side, and just standing and pushing weight into a hip, carrying babies on one side. You know, there are many, many reasons why weight gets pushed into joints like the hips, and they become habits. And from those habits, eventually, I'm exaggerating here, but you know, this is the kind of thing that happens, and eventually you'll find that even your shoulders aren't aligned. So ask somebody to have a look at you when you're sitting, and you'll probably find that one shoulder is higher than another, and when you're standing, it will more than likely be worse. The problem's not in the shoulders, the problem's in your feet, your legs, and probably where you're throwing weight into a joint somewhere. Okay, and this could also result in pain in your sacroiliac joints or your lumbar spine. So be very aware of, you know, where you're getting your support. Are you getting support from each leg, or does one leg feel lighter than the other? So you're probably thinking that your heavy leg, if you know you're pressing down and you feel more, or you feel lightness in one leg, heaviness in another, you're probably thinking the heavy leg is the problematic leg. It's not, it's the light leg that's the problematic leg, and probably it's your right leg. So really, you know, try and activate that right leg. Press the shin onto the mat, and then allow the left leg also to support you. Yeah, so, or it could be the other way around for you. It really is, but it could just be. Okay, enough about that. Probably too much information for a first time, but just, you know, these things eventually work through the mind, and you come to understand what's going on with your legs. Okay, let's add some arms. Remember what we did, I think in the first class. So, turn your hands, join your fingers, turn the hands out, get width across your chest area and the shoulders down, and without changing that width, so in other words, without bringing the shoulders forward and then up, we're just going to extend the arms forward. So be aware that you're squeezing the arms forward and that your triceps are really coming towards the bone. And again, the forearms come in and upper arms go out. And this is an instruction that just repeats itself all the way through yoga, in the downward facing dog, in all kinds of things. Why do we want to do that? Because again, we want to work this relationship between our bones. So, you know, if we let it fall out, then we're going to have something to bend. And if we don't work one bone against another, then we might end up with a hyperextension. In other words, you know, an arm shape where the elbow just comes right way in. Okay, so just be aware of what the relationship is between your bones. Keep width across your chest and then slowly lift up. So you only want to go as high as you can while maintaining the relationship between your bones. So, you know, if you're finding that you're having to bend at some stage, then you're beyond your limit. Work towards the limit, and it might only be like here today. That's, you know, totally fine. If you can, you're going a little bit further. Inhale and up. And now keep your shin bones active. Keep pressing into them. Keep the outer calf muscles coming in and your inner knees going out. This will keep you onto that crest of your shin bone again. Now extend through the arms. So as you're wanting your triceps muscles here to come up, your deltoid muscles, your shoulder muscles are going down. So back's coming down, the arms are going up, and through that we're creating extension. This is quite interesting and very important for your lymphatic system as well. You know, it stimulates, lifting the arms up stimulates the lymphatic system. And then down you come. Change the crossing of the fingers. Now this is probably something quite complicated in yoga. So you might feel like a dunce, but you know, if you cross your fingers and your left thumb is in first, change the crossing so that your right thumb and your right forefinger are in first, or the other way around. And then again, spread through the clavicle bones or the shoulders. Keep that width, keep the shoulders down, and slowly extend the arms. You know, even this might be your limit today, just to get your bones to align themselves. And this requires really like squeezing muscle to the bone, especially the triceps muscle. And then slowly extend up. So just to add another instruction here, your triceps come towards your ears. They come in this direction, and that will take your shoulder blades away from each other. Now again, extend up through the triceps, only go as far as you can, keeping the bones aligned. And then bring your trapezius muscles, your shoulders, bring them down the spine. Again, observe what's happening with your support. Are you throwing weight into one hip or into another? Are both the shin bones supporting you evenly? Are the hips even? You know, you could probably even feel your sitting bones if you have one sitting bone light or one sitting bone going out to the right or the left. Now extend up through the arms, and then exhale, and down you come. Okay, Garudasana. Take your right arm to the right and really try and extend the elbow away from you. And then as you're bringing it in, remember that you're keeping this width across your shoulder. You don't want to bring the shoulder forward. So keep that width across the shoulder, bring the arm in, and now just start creating some form of resistance so that you really feel your trapezius muscles at the back. It might only be here for you today, it might be here, or it could be a little bit further, and eventually we hook the arms. So again, keep the shoulders moving away from your throat area, so you're keeping that width across the shoulders. The trapezius muscles come down, shoulders come down, and then extend forward towards the elbows and bring your hands slightly forward. Again, where's the weight on your legs? Are you feeling one shin bone more than another? Is each shin bone supporting you? And then just spend a little time here. You can even bring your head down, your neck down slightly. Just feel between your shoulder blades, feel that extension from the spine out towards each shoulder blade. Shoulders down, and then create resistance. Start moving the elbows slightly up to create more and more resistance. And then release. This is great if you have tension in your shoulders. Repeat often. Left arm to the left, and create that length out towards the elbow, and then slowly bring it in. Start creating your resistance here, so as the shoulder's moving out, the elbow's moving in, or here, again, move the shoulder away from you. It could be here, and eventually here. Just respect the limit, don't force things, and especially don't compromise things. So don't just let the whole thing collapse because you want to do some final posture that you think might be more perfect than any other posture or any other place that you are. This is just as perfect as anywhere. It just depends what's going on in your shoulders and especially in your trapezius muscles. Again, width across your shoulders, bringing the trapezius muscles down, and then from your shoulders towards your elbows, extend forward while the shoulders are moving back. So you want to move the elbows away from you, and then the hands come slightly forward as well. If I'm going sideways, the hands just go slightly forward. It's always moving towards resistance. The resistance will give you access to the muscles that we're looking to release. Now your breath as well, soft, smooth breaths. Use your exhalation to release into your trapezius muscles, and then release. So by this stage, you probably are in a little bit of agony through your feet. If you can stay, you know, and as soon as it's too much for you, just stand up and do the arm postures that we've been doing. Okay, so let's slowly come up and let's just waken up the feet a little. So now you're going to be feeling this quite strongly. We just want to now spread through the arch of the foot, so you're going to be lifting up your foot and just going onto your toes. You can do the right foot first, you know, just lift up, spread across the ball of the foot, making sure the weight is not going to the outer foot but is staying on your inner foot. And then change and try and bring your ankle as far forward as you possibly can. Okay, again, just make sure that you've got the support of your other leg, the standing leg, buttocks away from the lower spine. And then change again. No weight thrown into the outer ankle. Stay on your inner feet. You know, in general, if things want to go somewhere, do the opposite. It sounds crazy, but we tend to throw weight to where it's easy. So come to where something's actually happening. Come towards the point of resistance. And change again. Make sure that your right leg is supporting you. So, you know, spread your toes. Lift up through the thighs and the kneecaps, and then bring that foot forward with the weight going into the ball of the big toe and not towards the outer ankle. And then let's do that again. Once more. Come forward, weight onto the ball of the big toe, all the toes spread. Don't throw weight into a hip. Keep your hips, you know, and your legs supporting you. And change again onto the other side. So outer ankle in, weight onto the ball of the big toe, right leg supporting you if you're mirroring me. Okay, let's try that sitting. So, you know, none of these are really formal asanas or formal postures, but they're preparatory ones that are really good to get your feet active and open and energetically alive. So you might want to start here, bend your toes under, and then start bringing the weight towards the ball of the big toe again. Don't let it fall out to the outer edge, ball of the big toe. And then see if you can slowly start coming back and putting more and more weight onto towards your heels. So allow the ball of the foot to become really wide, and just feel. If it's too much, you know, come back here. But it's just showing up, you know, the lack of openness and space and energy in the feet. Obviously, we're in shoes most of the time. Maybe you farmers have an advantage here, walking around barefoot more. And then release. And up you come. So hopefully you have a chair around you somewhere. Pull up a chair and your stick or your ball. You can start off here, you can start off standing. I'll show it sitting first and then standing. So I quite like this dowling rod because it's quite thick and I have quite deep arches, so it really gets into it. Probably a broomstick would work for you, or a tennis ball as well is really good. And just start rolling. You know, roll on the inside of the foot, the outside of the foot, through the heel. Start finding where you have painful areas and really start rubbing into those areas. Okay, you can go quite fast, you can go quite slow, there are no real rules here. Like I said, these are just preparatory things to get you connected with what's happening in your feet. Try changing, and again, you know, into the toe area, the ball of the foot, over through the arch, inner arch, outer arch, heel, inner heel, outer heel. You know, what's happening is the question. Am I feeling, you know, what's going on in my feet? Okay, and then try standing as well. So again, onto the toes, get it to go really into the toes, and the ball of the foot, inner ball, outer ball, through the arches, inner arch, outer arch, and try and stay where it's a little bit painful. You know, we're trying to get into those areas, we're trying to awaken them. So this is really good reflexology, if you like. It's the basis of it anyway. And don't forget that your nerves end in your feet. So when your feet become really energetically dead, those nerves are not accessible either. So let's waken them up a little. Okay, try changing. I'm going quite fast here. If you want to go slower, you know, with the tennis ball and really push it into an area which is more sensitive, go for it. Be playful, just and explorative. What's happening in your feet? Try and just figure it out and where it is painful. And then, you know, onto the heel of the foot as well. All over. Inner heel, outer heel. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, but you get the point. Play around with this, play around with the tennis ball. They're simple things that are very effective. Now this is going to look completely crazy, but it is also really effective at getting your muscles in your feet strengthened up. So, you know, you want to do like a little worm action and walk towards the front of your mat with one foot. So you just, if I can show you, scrunching up the toes and then extending them forward. And as you're scrunching them up, the heel's moving forward and then extending forward. Scrunch, extend, scrunch, extend. And from the side it looks like scrunch, extend, scrunch, extend, scrunch, extend. You know, and once you've done one, start with the other. Scrunch, extend, scrunch, extend. And this you can also do sitting down. You know, it's quite fun to play with a towel even, or a face cloth or something. See if you can, like a Pac-Man, you know, like eat it up. See, so you like try and bring the towel towards you. This is stuck now on my mat, which is very sticky. Let's go here, and you just try and chew up, you know, as much of a towel as you can. It's not really working on this one, but you try and chew it up and bring it towards you. Chew it up and bring it, there we go. Chew it up and bring it towards you. Chew it up, bring it towards you. You know, play with it. This side as well. You can start off with a little fold if you like, and then just try and bring the towel or the face cloth as much towards you as you possibly can. Okay, now come down again onto your knees and hands. Remember, we're going to be doing Adho Mukha Svanasana, the downward facing dog. So you want your fingers spread really, really wide. You don't want them in. You want them just slightly going out. Against the ball of the index finger, which you're really pushing into the ground, your forearm comes in. Now, if you bring your hands in, the forearm's already in. You want to create resistance to one thing against the other. And as that comes in too much, your elbow will just go out. So hand is slightly out, forearm comes in, upper arm goes out. Lots of detail. So hands down to the mat, slightly in front of your shoulders. And then press into the ball of your index finger. Even lift up your wrists for a while. Now spread the fingers, spread the palm of the hand, and then bring the wrists down. These postures are never ever in the wrists. They're always in the ball of the index finger. Okay, then turn the toes under and come up into the downward facing dog position. So first thing to do is just extend through the arms and try and bring the upper back in, and then lift up the sitting bones. Now maintain those sitting bones really high and then press back through the thighs and try and bring your hips away from your spine. And then balls of the feet really, really wide. Extend through your inner arches, and if you can, slowly the heels come down. But again, we don't want the heels to come down and then the whole posture to be something like this. We want to create that sharp V angle where there's extension through the legs, extension through the spine, action through the arms, action through the feet, and then walk forward. So I think we've probably done enough around the feet for now. What I do just want to finish with are two traditional poses, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana and Salamba Sarvangasana. Traditionally, well, firstly I'll just say that what I'm wanting to do is get into the upper spine. So with age you probably noticed how, again, the spine curls forward and then the neck becomes really short. So to bring this this upper spine or the dorsal spine in is quite a job. The thing is, as we collapse forward and close in the chest, normally to protect ourselves emotionally, it's a classic thing to do. I mean, it's really hard to go around exposed like this. We also put ourselves into a place of darkness and depression sometimes. So opening up this chest area, opening up the diaphragm, getting everything to extend, open up, create space inside, really changes kind of what's going on mentally as well as emotionally. So for Setu Bandha, traditionally we'd use a yoga bolster, but I know a lot of you, well, most of you won't have a yoga bolster lying around at home, crazy that, but that's life. So I'm going to show with some towels. So we just take towels and fold them lengthwise. So we're going to be putting the chest on this side, so you want a nice edge on one side. I'm going to fold maybe 4 towels here. You could have more, you could have less. If you have problems with your upper spine and your neck, then I suggest you start with less. If you find that your upper spine and neck are very accessible, then take more height. That bolster is probably a little bit higher than this. Traditionally this posture is done with a brick under the sacrum area. I'm not a great fan of that brick, especially if you have sacroiliac problems or lumbar problems. So come to the front of the blankets or the towels. Blankets work very well as well. And as you're sliding back, you want your trapezius muscles to kind of pull down towards your buttocks area. And you want the towels to stay as high up in the spine as possible, but with your shoulders on the ground. And this is where you might have to take away a blanket or two. Okay, now put your thumbs into your temples and then grab the base of your skull and pull the base of the skull away so that you're really creating extension in your neck. And then release your shoulders down. Now we don't want, the back arched and your front ribs coming up. So first thing to do is take the buttocks away from the lower spine and bring your front ribs down. If your front ribs are popping up, you're probably going into your lumbar spine. We always want extension in the lumbar spine. So there isn't a back bend that goes into the lumbar. And the back extensions all go into the upper spine. Okay, and then shoulders really wide. Bring the shoulders away from the ears, extend the arms forward. And either, especially if you have lumbar problems, keep your legs bent here. Just keep moving, like a tucking action. The buttocks away from the lower spine. And if everything's okay, you can actually extend your legs forward. But again, the upper thighs roll in, outer calves suck in. They don't roll in, they suck in. Outer edge to inner edge. Feet active. If you have a wall, great. Press the feet against the wall. It will give you a lot more access to your legs and your pelvis area. Again, release the shoulders. Make sure that your neck is staying really long, and then just feel what's happening in that upper spine area, in your dorsal spine. Be very receptive to the blankets or the towels, and allow them to bring that upper spine in. We just wanted to find its natural place again, but this really makes us aware of how rounded we become with age, how everything collapses forward. Also, it will help you to solve a lot of neck problems, to create extension through your neck. Okay, now width through the chest area, width through the upper back. With an exhalation, feel the diaphragm becoming wider. So I like to say inhale to the center of your diaphragm, exhale to the outer edges of your diaphragm, and feel the entire diaphragmatic area becoming really wide. Then do the same for your upper back. Inhale between your shoulder blades, exhale to the outer edges of your shoulders, and allow width to come into the upper spine. And then same for the back diaphragm or lower rib area. Inhale to the center of this area, exhale to the outer edges. And if you don't feel it, just imagine it becoming wide. And then same with your lower back. If you have your legs bent, it's even easier to feel here. Inhale into the center of the sacrum area, exhale to the outer edges of your pelvis, and width across the pelvis area. And then again, just bring your attention, your consciousness to the upper spine. What's happening? What are you feeling? And then you're going to slowly come back. So you can either slide backwards or just take the towels away. Just stay there for a little minute, allow your lower spine to settle. Don't lift the legs too quickly, I know you want to. And then if everything's okay and it's all settled, then bring the knees to the chest. Toes together, knees together if possible. Now if you're finding that you have a lot of tightness in your front groins or your psoas area, then spread your legs and just bring the knees to the chest if that feels better. Okay, eventually we want to move towards the knees being together, but whatever's accessible for you. Just make sure that it's balanced on either side, and be aware how one groin, one psoas area is very often tighter than another. Is your neck still long? Is your throat soft? Is your chest wide? Then extend your right arm to the right side, and we're going to be turning over to the left. So keep the knees as high as possible towards the chest as you're turning over. The feet come down to the ground first. Try and keep your shoulder as close as possible to the ground, and extend the right arm away from you as you're turning. So again, just feel what's happening. What is going on in your upper spine? What's it doing to your breath? And how can your breath affect your upper spine? Feel your middle spine. Again, what's happening? And then feel your lower spine and your buttock region. I like to call it the sciatic region because this is generally where tightness in those muscles pushes against the sciatic nerve. But there are a lot of things going on. There's 6 deep muscles, all have their own function. And then up you come, put your legs down and bring your pelvis back to the neutral position. Lift up the legs, come over to the other side. Don't forget to extend your left arm to the left with your left shoulder on the mat on the ground. Feet down first, and then slowly bringing the knees down. Now if you're finding that it's too much for you, then ask yourself if there isn't something that can help, like maybe the towels that are next to you, you know, and you just put your legs down onto the towels if you have any form of pain. So we always want to move towards the shape or the form of a final pose, but we don't, you know, it's not a form related practice, it's a perceptive practice. So what's happening, and if there's any form of pain or discomfort, then what can we do to, you know, give us better access to it without the pain? So little steps, baby steps. What's happening in the upper spine, middle spine, lower spine? How's the breath? Are you holding tension anywhere? Face, throat? How's the length of your neck? So we live right near a church, and the bells go off every 15 minutes, 24 hours a day, if you heard that. Takes a bit of getting used to. Inhale and come up. And then roll to your right side, and up you come. I've kind of been hesitating to teach you some inversions just because inversions are really important. They stimulate your circulation, and as your circulation is stimulated, so is your immune system, which is why inversions are so important during a period like this with this virus going around. So, and the other thing is, of course, in this posture, which I want to teach you today, shoulder stand, it really gets into the thyroid and the parathyroid, both stimulating it and relaxing it. The problem is with age is that the thyroid function is diminished with age. And with that, quite a lot of hormonal problems and immune problems as well. So, you know, really important to keep your thyroid functioning well. And this, you know, this posture will really teach you to extend your neck and to bring your chin way in. So you'll probably be feeling it into your throat quite a lot. If it's too much, back off, but if you can, try and stay there. Okay, yeah, so you're going to need a stack of towels. So as the towels were stacked before is quite good, you know, those 4 layers of towels lengthwise, and place them next to a sturdy chair, a couch, a bed is really good as well. I'm going to use just a chair here on the terrace, but make sure that something is not going to tip over. Okay. Also, like I said, this posture is really interesting. No, I don't think I even said it, but this posture is really interesting for the nervous system as well. It's amazing how calm you feel. If you can stay here 5 minutes, 10 is brilliant, 15 you will just feel like a new person afterwards, you know, and just be quiet in the posture. So here we go. Take that away. Sit down on your couch or your bed, and then you're gonna have to swing your legs up. So up, it's quite easy on a bed to do, and then scoot your butt quite far forward. So this one's not very high. If it's higher, and you probably, let me say that again, if you're a tall person, you probably want something higher. And then slowly slide back until your shoulders are on the support that you've created with the towels. So the more height you have here, probably the easier it will be. If you have less height, it's going to ask for more extension from your neck, and then the chin comes into the chest area. Okay, you can put your arms out here or to the side if you have space, but like the cactus pose again, like I said before, you know, it's not cocktail hour yet, so, you know, not tequila time yet, but we'll get there. So then bend your legs, and if you can, you extend them up into the air. Okay, the chest stays really, really wide. The upper back stays really wide, and you don't want the chest collapsing. You want the chest lifting up. As the chest lifts, that extension through the neck, and then lift your legs up towards. I've got the sky here, which is just awesome. No sun in my face, which is important. Try not to practice in the sun. It's not great for you. Yeah, shaded area would be good. And then extend through your inner legs towards your heels. You can start off in a flex position, and then just soften your toes a little bit and bring your ball of the big toe up towards the sky. Okay, and then just observe what's happening in your throat. Can you soften the throat? Can you soften your neck and really extend the back of the skull away from you? Also, keep the thighs as straight as you possibly can. If you have a wall, you know, place your feet against the wall on the edge of the couch. What have I got here? That's also okay. That's really good. No problem with that either. You know, like I said, nothing is obligatory. Be really explorative. Ask yourself what happens if you're there. How do you feel? What does it give? If your legs are here, and especially if you have tight hamstrings, it's going to be really hard to lift the legs up. So no worries. Legs lower down. And then just watch the breath. Soft, smooth, even breaths. Slow the breath down. Again, what's happening in the throat? What's happening in the neck? Try and really release the neck away from you, the back of the skull away from you. What's happening in the shoulders? Can you make the shoulders really wide? Are you maintaining the extension through your legs, whether they're down or up? Inner legs long. Okay, and once again, I'm going to leave you here. Stay as long as you like. The longer the better. Hope you had fun. Bye. Actually, that's not true. I'm such a twat. I forgot to tell you how to get out of here. So, bring your legs down. Maybe on the back of the chair, back of the couch. And then you slowly start sliding back. Try and keep your hips on the support and your upper spine down onto the mat. And then lift your arms up either into cactus again, cactus pose, or bring them further down, but always shoulders away from the ears. And then stay here another 5 or 10 minutes, relaxing, your face, your throat, your neck. We have bells going off here every 15 minutes. It took a while to get used to it. If you heard that. Spend time just relaxing your body from the tip of your head down to your toes. And then a couple of minutes just observing the rising and the falling of your abdomen. So you're going to notice that the mind wanders off really quickly. One of the things we're trying to do is train the mind to stay present, to stay observant, to stay in the present moment. So as your mind wanders off, recognize the fact that you're off somewhere, and then slowly bring the mind back to the observation. This time I am going to say goodbye. Have a lovely evening.